You know that moment late at night when you're lying in bed, scrolling through your phone, and you open a dating app? Not because you're excited, but because you're bored, maybe a little lonely, and honestly just curious who's out there. You swipe left, swipe right, left again, and every once in a while the app throws you a little burst of hope. Oh, you missed a match. Someone liked you. Upgrade to see who. And suddenly that tiny yellow notification bubble feels weirdly important. So you think, it's only 10 bucks. Then maybe next month it's 20. Then maybe you try the premium boost thing once. Then twice. And before you know it, you've spent money, not really on dating, but on possibility, on the idea that maybe the next swipe is the one. And honestly, I spend way too much time thinking about this kind of stuff. Not just money, but the psychology behind how companies design products around human emotions, loneliness, hope, curiosity, validation. Because when you look closely at modern dating apps, something interesting starts to appear. These companies aren't just helping people find relationships. They've quietly built one of the most profitable business models on the internet by monetizing loneliness itself, billions of dollars every year. And once you understand how the system actually works, the algorithms, the psychology, the little nudges that keep you swiping, you start to see the whole experience very differently. Not necessarily in a cynical way, but in a way that makes you realize something important. Dating apps aren't designed primarily to help you leave the app. They're designed to keep you on it. The business model. Why dating apps don't want you to leave. At first glance, dating apps look like a service designed to solve a problem. You're single, you want to meet someone. Simple. But here's the weird business contradiction. If a dating app worked perfectly, you'd find someone quickly and stop using it, which means the company loses a customer. Imagine if a gym made the most money from people who reached their fitness goals in 2 weeks and canceled their membership. That wouldn't make sense. Gyms actually make the most money from people who sign up and keep coming back. Dating apps work in a similar way. The longer you stay single on the platform, the more opportunities the app has to monetize your attention. Subscriptions, boosts, super likes, premium tiers. And this isn't a tiny industry either. Companies like Match Group, which owns apps like Tinder, Hinge, and OkCupid, generate billions of dollars in revenue every year, not from happy couples leaving, but from people continuing to swipe. The slot machine effect. Let's talk about swiping for a second, because the experience is strangely addictive. Swipe. Nothing. Swipe again. Nothing. Then suddenly, match. And that tiny dopamine hit feels surprisingly good. Psychologists call this variable reward systems. It's the same principle used in slot machines. You don't win every time, but you win just often enough to keep playing. Dating apps essentially turned romance into a behavioral feedback loop. You're chasing a reward that might appear at any moment. A match, a message, a notification, and the unpredictability is exactly what keeps people engaged. Honestly, it's kind of brilliant from a design perspective, but from a user perspective, it can quietly turn into hours of scrolling without much real progress. The illusion of infinite options. Another interesting trick dating apps use is the illusion of abundance. When you open the app, it feels like there are endless potential partners. Hundreds, thousands, swipe after swipe. But here's what that actually does to the human brain. When we believe there are unlimited choices, we become worse at choosing. Think about standing in front of a menu with 300 items. Suddenly, everything feels overwhelming. Dating apps amplify this effect. You're constantly wondering, what if the next person is better? What if I'm settling too soon? So instead of committing to conversations, people keep browsing. The result? More swiping, more time on the app, and more opportunities for monetization. Why men and women experience apps differently. Now, here's where things get even more fascinating. Dating apps often create very different experiences depending on gender. Studies have shown that on many platforms, a small percentage of men receive the majority of likes. Meanwhile, many men receive very few matches. This creates two completely different emotional journeys. For many men, the app feels like a struggle for visibility, which makes premium features extremely tempting. Boost your profile, get more exposure, stand out from the crowd. For many women, the experience can feel overwhelming. Too many matches, too many messages, which ironically also keeps them using the app, trying to filter through the noise. The platform profits from both sides of that dynamic. One side pays to get noticed, the other side stays engaged, trying to sort through attention. The premium love. If you've used a dating app recently, you've probably noticed how many features are locked behind a paywall. Want to see who liked you? Pay. Want unlimited swipes? Pay. Want your profile boosted so more people see it? Pay. Apps like Tinder have introduced multiple tiers, plus, gold, platinum, each one promising better chances. But here's the subtle psychological hook. They rarely promise success. They promise possibility, and possibility is a powerful thing. Because when people are lonely, they're often not buying certainty, they're buying hope. The data advantage. Another reason dating apps are so profitable is simple. They know a lot about you. Your age, your location, your preferences, who you swipe on, who swipes at you. Over time, this creates incredibly detailed behavioral data, and that data allows companies to constantly optimize engagement. For example, they might delay showing you someone who already liked you. Why? Because that increases the chance you'll pay to see the match sooner. They might space out matches over time to keep the experience rewarding but not overwhelming. None of this is random. It's algorithmic, designed to keep you swiping. Why loneliness is such a powerful market. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Loneliness is one of the most powerful emotional drivers in the world. Humans are wired for connection, and when that connection feels just slightly out of reach, we become extremely motivated to pursue it. Dating apps exist right in that emotional space, not when you're completely isolated, but when you're almost meeting someone, almost matching, almost connecting. That almost is where the business lives. The quiet psychology of validation. There's another layer too. Dating apps don't just sell connection, they sell validation. A match means someone found you attractive. A like means someone noticed you. Even if the conversation goes nowhere, that little moment of recognition can feel good. And once people start tying their self-esteem to those signals, the app becomes more than just a tool. It becomes a feedback system for identity, which makes it very hard to quit. How to use dating apps without letting them use you. Now, this isn't about saying dating apps are evil. They've genuinely helped millions of people meet partners. Many relationships today start online, but understanding the incentives behind the platform helps you use them more intentionally. A few small mindset shifts can make a big difference. First, set boundaries. Instead of endless swiping, try limiting app time to 10 or 15 minutes. Second, focus on conversations instead of matches. Matches feel good, but conversations create connection. Third, don't treat the app like the only path to meeting people. Real life still exists. Friends, hobbies, events, communities. Sometimes the best connections happen where algorithms aren't involved at all. Conclusion. So when you zoom out and really look at the modern dating industry, something fascinating appears. These apps didn't just digitize dating, they engineered an entire ecosystem around human emotion, hope, curiosity, validation, and yes, loneliness. And that ecosystem is incredibly profitable. Companies like Match Group generate billions of dollars each year through platforms like Tinder and Hinge. But here's the important part. Understanding the system doesn't mean you have to reject it. It just means you can use it consciously. Instead of endlessly swiping for hours, instead of paying for every feature promising better luck, you can treat dating apps like tools rather than environments. Open them, use them, then close them. Because at the end of the day, real relationships rarely begin with perfect algorithms. They begin with awkward conversations, unexpected chemistry, moments that don't fit neatly into a swipe. And honestly, that's probably a good thing, because the most meaningful human connections have never been optimized for engagement metrics. They've always been a little messy, a little unpredictable, and completely outside the business model.